Hello, audience! Welcome to the Radiant Eclipse MLP Talk Show. This is episode 7, recorded on Monday, May 21st, 2012. My name's Vanacus, and I'll be your guide through this wonderful world of rainbow-colored equins. Please put your hooves together for this week's co-hosts.
I am Jesse.
My name is Ed.
Every week we start off the show by introducing our special guest. This week's show features a Brony musician who goes by the name of BronyMike. Welcome to the show.
Woo! Hi, I'm BronyMike. Somewhat known for music, somewhat known for PMVs, somewhat known for making people draw pictures of Trixie eating pine cones, somewhat known for going to conventions and stuff. I've been all over the place.
He's a jack of all trades.
I'm a jack
Buy some apples!
of all trades.
I'm sorry, is this a family show? Do we need to keep our language under control?
To some degree. I'm a buy some apples of all trades.
I just want to make you guys fully aware that I really like swearing, so this might be difficult for you.
Dude, it is my
Buy some apples!
favorite thing to do.
So, favorite character, I'm supposed to apparently answer, is Pinkie Pie, and then favorite episode is Pinkie Pie, and what I enjoy most about the fandom is Pinkie Pie. No, favorite character, of the main 6 is Pinkie Pie. Of all together, I'm still gonna say Chancellor Puddinghead, even though that is Pinkie Pie. Favorite episode is debatable. I'm probably gonna say Friend Indeed, just because it's pretty awesome and funny. I still crack up at the forevers. That's like forever. and enjoying most about the fandom is the intense vastness of it, and the amount of quality exuded by every possible medium on the face of the earth, that people have crammed ponies into. There's glassware and woodcraft and Minecraft.
So hello, I am Jesse. I also make music. I make the ska rock remixes of songs. Favorite character, I think, is got to be Big Mac, just because his Big Mac. Favorite episode, it's hard to say, but maybe Lesson Zero, only because of the line, ugh. What do I enjoy most about the fandom? Well, as BronyMike said, the quality, along with the quantity, but also just all the positive encouragement that goes along with it, from the higher quality artists towards the, aspiring artists.
Way to elaborate there, Jesse.
Well, last time I elaborated too much, so I figured I'd keep it short this time.
Hi, I'm Ed, aka Edmorgz. I do the vocals on Jesse Carlson's ska covers of Pony and Friendship is Witchcraft songs. If I had to pick a favorite character in the My Little Pony universe, I would definitely choose Rainbow Dash. I would say that my favorite episode is definitely the Return of Harmony. If only, I love that joke. I'm a big geek for animation and crazy poses and stuff, so that bit where Discord drinks the glass from around the plug of chocolate milk, and he throws it over his shoulder and it just explodes off screen.
That was glorious.
It's absolutely wonderful. So that was kind of like, even though I had already been watching the show for a full season, I was like, all right, now you've got me, My Little Pony, now that you've done this one joke.
Nice.
Nice. But and the fandom, like, we've talked about the positive encouragement and the quality of the work and all that stuff, but honestly, I think the best part of it is just that it's a community of people who are dedicated to not being bad people. It's all about being nice to each other and encouraging each other and following the law of the land, which is don't be a dick. And for the most part, bronies follow that. Some of them don't, but most of them do.
Woo!
Now that everyone's been introduced, it's time to start the show. Every time we have a new guest, we're obligated to learn about how awesome they are, and the day-to-day activities that make their lives so unique. So, Mike, how did you become a brony?
I'm a big fan of thatguywiththeglasses.com. I've been watching a bunch of reviews on that site, and I'd been catching up on pretty much everything that was on it. And this video by this guy named CR came up, and it was like Pinkie Pie in 5 seconds or something. And it was kind of funny. It was just a couple of clips of Pinkie Pie doing silly stuff. And then in the comments, everyone was like, holy crap, this is a really good show. Everyone should watch it, and whatever. And then I eventually somehow found my way onto 4chan. And it was pretty popular over there too, and I figured, okay, whatever, I'll check it out. And found it on YouTube. I still had kind of some reservations about it until Winter Wrap Up. That was like the turning point when I was like, holy crap, I gotta like stop and rewatch that. Where did this amazing musical number suddenly come out of? Like the show already kind of blew me away with the quality of the voice acting and whatnot. But that was the main turning point where I just got over myself and was like, okay, wow, this is a good show. And then I started making some PMVs and stuff because there were a lot of songs that really well matched the content of the show, but for some reason no one had done yet. I got a little bit popular on that, and I figured, okay, everyone's been making some sort of content. I should make my own content of some sort, and I'd been looking for an excuse to learn how to edit videos, and so that worked out in my favor. I made all of the PMVs that I was interested in making. There are still a couple that I could probably make, but I don't know, it's become kind of a saturated field to some degree, and to be honest, a lot of the artists these days are kind of missing a lot of very, very simple concepts. I was a big fan of the musicians. The Remix Wars got started up, and I decided, okay, on Remix War 4, I'm just gonna go all out, make some silly as hell cover, because I've got all these goofy instruments sitting around. And that was Wacky Factory, my cover of Glaze/Wooden Toaster's Rainbow Factory.
Question number 2. When did you start making covers, and why covers of ponies?
I've always wanted to become a voice actor, but that's gonna be a tough road to go down because I live near Vancouver, which is where everyone does voice acting, apparently. So I've been looking to get some good voice experience. I can't really go to school for acting stuff because I have to get some sort of a good fallback by taking this IT course first, so that if I can't make it into the acting world, then I can at least make it as some sort of tech professional or whatever. So, I don't know, recently I've been starting to do singing lessons, and those are basically just, okay, sing over top of this other song and practice your voice. I just decided, okay, I made Wacky Factory and stuff. I'm gonna try to cover everything. Yeah, and then I decided, okay, I'm gonna start trying to do covers of everything. On top of the, 6 other things that I currently do.
So, which artists are you most inspired by within the fandom?
Nobody! No, I don't know.
He's all alone.
Exactly. Pretty much everybody. Everyone's really supportive and friendly, mostly.
I'm not. I really dislike everyone else.
We just want to make sure that everyone feels really isolated.
I rip off a lot of people. I don't really draw inspiration from many people because there's not really that many other just goofy singing. Well, I guess there are, but not quite to the same extent as me.
Although, I gotta admit, a collaboration with you and Yaplap would be...
It'd be sweet. No, I've got this idea. Me, Yaplap, Prince Whatever, and Cyril all get together and make like a shouting barbershop quartet. All the artists, all the musicians, basically just... Everyone was making really good content. I decided, screw it, I gotta get in on pretty much every aspect of this.
If you were given the choice to make music your career, would you do it?
Probably, but I don't know how the hell that would happen. I prefer to get into voice acting, more specifically.
So, not music.
Not really, though music could still be a part of it.
Are there any conventions you plan on attending?
BronyCon, I was supposed to be performing, but apparently now I'm not, but I'm still going. It's gonna be awesome. I'm still gonna be playing crap on the side and probably bugging everybody except for the musicians in the audience. Basically just the Everfree radio staff who are hanging out there and trying to keep everything organized. I'm going to Everfree. I'm definitely performing there. Everfree's gonna be good.
What projects are you working on that you would really like to see completed?
I just made the first post of my Ask Flutterdon Tumblr, which is actually, I'd been kind of hoping to make an abridged series or something, but editing is too time consuming. So finally I figured out, okay, Tumblr has audio posts you can make. I'm gonna see if I can do an Ask Tumblr and answer stuff on those. The Trixie Pinecone project is never going to be completed because it's an ongoing dealio. But yeah, Ask Flutterdon, I'd like to see that actually expand to some degree and be able to get some sort of voice experience from that and finally buy some apples and get a demo made. And get that to an agent or something.
What if pinecones were sentient life forms and took over the planet? What if they found your Tumblr? Do you think that our thorny overlords would punish you for your art?
I live in British Columbia. We have evergreen trees everywhere. That has already happened. That is exactly the case. Please send for help. Don't send for the RCMP. They're too busy trying to get their igloos to stay frozen.
In the summer of 2012, a rapidly growing adult fan base will gather to celebrate the TV show My Little Little Pony Friendship is Magic. This feature-length documentary will follow several individual journeys that converge at the convention. We'll find out who the fans are and what is driving this phenomenon. For the documentary, executive producers are Michael Burkhoff and John De Lancie, the voice of Discord from My Little Pony. Director is Lonette Malinqueus, and consulting producer is Andrew Brocker.
Laurent Malaquais.
Now, I may not be a huge fan of BronyCon, and everyone here knows I'm very excited for Everfree Northwest, which I will be attending. However, any professional Brony documentary featuring one of my favorite actors is an accomplishment regardless of which convention is involved. So, what are your views on this project? How do you think the Bronies will react to his appearance? Would it ruin the integrity of their documentary?
The interesting thing about this documentary is just, I feel like it'll be a really interesting look at Brony culture beyond the internet, which is kind of the thing that defines it right now, and it'll go past kind of the meme version of the Brony culture and into what these people are like in real life. And I don't know, I think it depends on who they focus the camera on. You might get somebody who is way into Rule 34 and way into fanfiction and way into the really fringe parts of Brony culture, or you might get someone like myself or Jesse who are very kind of fringe on Brony culture. Like, we just happen to be people who are really, 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 really into the show, but we don't kind of delve those layers deeper. Like, I'm willing to dress as Rainbow Dash, but I'm also not willing to entertain any weird fantasies about Rainbow Dash.
Most of the whole point of it is to try to put us in a better light, as far as I can tell. Yeah, it'll give a better expression of that we're actually people.
I hope for that, certainly, that it will show that, they're all just, cool enough guys that happen to like the show, and everyone's a very nice person, and hopefully they won't be, as Ed said, focusing on the kind of outer reaches of the fandom that, the rest of it are kind of like, I don't necessarily want to associate with that.
It's an internet fan base. There's always some sort of darker parts, I guess. But
and so I think I agree that my hope is that they don't focus on that. Is that they focus on the kind of middle of the road where it's like, everyone's just really nice to each other. Everyone's really supportive. They follow this and that.
I know they're at least investing around $60,000 into this particular documentary. And I don't think John De Lancie would throw out his reputation, not only as an actor, but as a voice actor and his position within the fandom. I don't think he would risk that by the kind of the darker, more fringe parts of the fandom, or the more stranger Bronies and what they're into.
That's a good point.
I don't think they would let that influence the documentary, because they're supposed to do it in an honest and fair light, and you don't focus on outliers to give a fair representation of a whole.
It's not the most extreme portions of the fandom that bother me. I understand that in anything there are going to be people who do very weird things, but it's the people who are just slightly weird with it. It's something that the media likes to do with geek culture in general, which is they focus on the people who are kind of socially inept, socially incapable, and they watch them stumble in front of the camera, and then they just kind of make fun of it. Whereas you have people who are very socially well-adjusted and people who know what's going on, and they have lives outside of this fandom, but they also are a big part of the fandom, and they're okay with it. Like, you don't have to be obsessed with something to be a really, 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 really big fan.
You're kind of saying that all fanfic writers are really obsessed and socially inept.
Not all of them. The thing about fanfic for me is it's amazing how much of it is self-insert. You can tell that the author really wants this to happen, and it's kind of delusional and kind of, whatever.
But there are a ton of amazing ones, though.
Oh, there totally are. The thing I would love to see out of the fandom is more speculative fiction. Like, I would like to see more people writing spec episodes of the show than long-form prose stuff. Like, I would just like to see more stuff that's actually like the show, and then it's like I'm getting more of the show.
now I'm gonna go on my rant on fanfiction, especially because I am a writer.
Ooh, we're gonna do a fan fiction rant.
So, I have been doing some writing myself. Really big fan of the Living Tombstone song September. Also a very big fan of K-Cat's Fallout Equestria. I'm very much into writing fictional stories, and I like the concept of writers and fanfic writers wanting to, like you said, produce those kind of one-shot fics that are short and sweet and are kind of like the episodes of the show, because then it's like you have fan-created episodes that you can enjoy in the meantime while you wait for new content. What I really like is these kind of epic novel-length stories that some of the better writers have been able to produce. K-Cat produced Fallout Equestria, which I think was 40-something chapters. Each chapter's around 4,000 words. Like, this thing's massive. And I've been thoroughly enjoying it all the way through. And I'm also a big Fallout fan. I've just got a video card that can handle the game, so personally I'm loving it. And when I was listening to the song, September, I was wondering what the story could have been. And I think Tombstone intentionally left it vague so the audience could make up their own story for it. And I was thinking, you know what, this would fit perfectly within the Fallout world because, at least in the story that K-Cat wrote, and which goes back to the Fallout canon, there's this huge atomic war. And I was thinking of writing a story involving the Manhattan Project, which is my interpretation of the actual Manhattan Project, which is the development of the first atomic bomb. To cut a long story short, the different races all have a giant war. Some of the more magically inclined races launch attacks called mega spells, very powerful weapons that can annihilate entire cities. The zebras can't cast natural magic, but they can make remedies and potions, one of which is this detonatable mega spell called a balefire bomb. And it's essentially the equivalence of an atomic bomb. And so the concept for my story is we have several refugees and survivors of this equestrian city called Metropolis. It's invaded by zebras, it's wiped out, and the inhabitants of the cities are forced into a zebra prisoner of war camp. And the concept is all the scientists of this great equestrian city are being forced into slavery by the zebras, and they're producing the first balefire bomb. And the story, now let's go back to the song September, we know it ends with him annihilating an entire city. So in my interpretation of the story, I want to have the protagonist try and free the ponies that are in the prisoner of war camp and turn the balefire bomb against them to wipe out the zebra prisoner of war camp. I have it planned out in 3 parts. Part 1, July, Part 2, August, and of course the finale, Part 3, was September, and all playing around wordplay with the lyrics of the song. And I've thought this through very thorough. The point I'm getting at is I would like to see writers be more creative in reimagining stories, not only ones created by other artists, but I really want to see more creative work where writers are really creating their own world. I know we delve a lot into the world already created by the show. I don't see anything wrong with that, but it doesn't feel original enough to me. That's the biggest qualm. I like authors like PK who wrote Antipodes. I'm still reading that. And I like stories like Fallout Equestria because you wouldn't see it in the natural order of the show. But it does very often play tribute to it. And pretty much how I see it with as far as fanfiction is concerned is I want to see the people who make the show continue producing the show. Let's keep canon material canon and appreciate it, enjoy it, love it. What I would like to see the fans do is I want to see them create all the content that the regular artists and the regular writers are unable to produce. That's what I want to see us producing.
My question there would be, like, why do we need to bring nuclear war into Equestria?
Ooh, that's another great topic, and that's because people love contrast, and I am one of those people. Think Portal. We have a horror genre mixed with a comedy genre mixed with a puzzle genre, and the game's amazing.
Well, yeah, that's one property. That did it very well. Why do these ponies need to be murdering each other?
People like mixing two things that shouldn't go good together and trying to make it work. In this case, positive, cheerful ponies in a post-apocalyptic world. All senses say this should be a genre that shouldn't work, but if you're a good enough writer, you can make it work. And, at my core, I'm a storyteller. That's why I took up radio, that's why I took up doing the web show, that's why I took up doing the art and comics and Tumblrs and video making, and, I just love storytelling. And that's why, personally, I'm into writing, and I want to go out of my way to produce the stories that no one else will write, or at least no one else on the show staff are allowed to write. I want to be the creative outlet that they're unable to do. That's what I want my service to the fandom to
I
be.
want to raise the interesting point that I paraphrased Oppenheimer's quote regarding the bomb, like, way before we started talking about nukes, and then it kind of wrapped back around to nukes. So long story short, I think people are gonna like the John De Lancie documentary, you know?
Yeah, we've definitely come around to the John De Lancie documentary. That's going to basically be the atomic bomb that drops on the Brony community, and everybody will be really upset.
He's going to find good people to interview, and he's only going to keep the ones that actually provide a fairly good representation of the fandom. He's going to get a good feel for the artists, he's going to get a good feel for the other creative people, the musicians, the animators, or the fan animators. He'll get some of all of them and put those into the documentary.
That's the one thing that I feel is probably the most positive out of this entire documentary thing, is just that he's going to hopefully get people out of the fandom who are, you know, fairly on the level, know what they're talking about. It's people who are going to come up to the mic and say, I like this show, it's about these ponies, whatever. I'm a fan of what it preaches, which is, let's be nice to each other, let's be friends. That's really all that matters about it, and hopefully that's what the documentary will do.
But also, it'll show that people can actually, like, function socially. Like, you get a weird person into a room and you ask them some questions for the documentary, and most of the time they'll give some good answers and some actual decent feedback and be able to give you a fairly good answer. It's not going to be strictly, oh my god, Fluttershy, you're so hot. No, it's gonna be... Sorry.
I love that of all the ponies you decided to describe as so hot, it was Fluttershy.
But no, it's if you're in an interview, you'll be able to present yourself nicely. I'm on an interview on the internet right now, which is why I'm kind of delving into some. I've given some more questionable answers.
Let's be honest, the internet is the most important place you could possibly be interviewed.
You'd be amazed at how many people don't know how to handle themselves on the internet, or don't know how to handle themselves around other people. A buddy of mine who is very deeply ingrained in the Brony community often talks about, it's amazing how many people use this fandom as a way to rationalize not having social skills. And it's that kind of like, yeah, I'm an outsider, suck it. Like,
that's stupid. Whereas
it is
actually,
incredibly stupid.
I have seen a lot of extremely shy people come to meetups, and they're like really just kind of introverted, and they have no idea what to actually do the first time they're there.
But when they do, it's amazing. Like, they finally understand, I can talk to these people, they know what I like.
So they finally learn how to open up. Conversely, there are people who are raised on the internet completely, and they just are complete giant jackasses to everybody in every possible way. And then hopefully, if they go to a meetup or something, people can actually set them straight and tell them, no, that's not right. You can't do that.
You'll never set them straight. They will never stop. They will never stop. Internet people will never stop being dicks. That's the thing about the Brony community. Like, there are so many people who are dicks. There are so many people who are making a lot of noise. And there are so many people who are trying to talk shit about us, but we're good people for the most part. We're trying to do a good thing. We're trying to just enjoy a cartoon, which was, if this cartoon had been made 10 years ago, there would be a Facebook thread about how great it was, you know, because it was 10 years old. Clarissa Explains It All is as good as My Little Pony on the internet, but My Little Pony was a better show. And there's all these people talking about how great these 90s cartoons were, but everything about My Little Pony Friendship is Magic is just as good as anything that, and I'll say this as an animation geek, anything that easily early SpongeBob ever did, or early Hey Arnold, or any of that stuff. The only reason to like that stuff is nostalgia, and the only reason to hate it now is a fear of what's cool now.
Documentaries aren't the only thing John loves. He's quite the fan of conventions, too. He recently attended the Dallas Comic-Con and had the following to say about the fandom. For those of you who don't know it, and I think it's really important that you should, I ended up doing a cartoon show called My Little Pony. Didn't know anything about it. Looked at the material. It was really good. Went out there, knocked off a couple of them, completely forgot about it, and then, all of a sudden, about 4 months ago, people would go, My Little Pony, and I'd go, what? Discord? What? I turned to my wife and asked, what are they talking about? Well, she said you did a My Little Pony thing. It was my first step into a world that I've become quite fascinated with. The reason I've become fascinated with it is this. It's not My Little Pony. It's Friendship is Magic, and it purports, interestingly enough, a better future. It has a fan base, which are the ages of my sons. Very interesting. And as I go further into it, I'm beginning to go. I feel that I'm at the beginning of a really important fan base, made up of people who are interested in music, who are interested in art, who are interested in doing good and being good and doing good. In a world which seems to, at least, I don't know about you people, but as far as I'm concerned, this world has gone crazy in the terms of how mean we've all got. I'm delighted, and I feel like I'm at the beginning. When I came into Star Trek along with Patrick, the Star Trek fan base had already been established. Well, I feel like I'm at the beginning of a whole new fan base. And I want to invite you, who are Trek fans, to embrace Friendship is Magic fans, because I've discovered that we all have a lot in common. So, how do you feel about our fandom as a whole? Where do you think we'll go in the future? Do you see the fandom dying out, or will we survive long after the canon material fades away?
I feel like as a whole, the Brony fandom is doing pretty well right now. It'll probably go away, I don't know, 5-6 years after the show gets canceled, but it'll continue on afterwards. People will keep doing it. It's a good fandom. The whole thing about John De Lancie saying like it's just about being a good person, I think people are carrying that on, and they're gonna keep doing it until the show is long forgotten. And at that point, it'll just be 10 dudes at a convention in Applejack outfits.
Yeah, no, I totally agree, Ed, and you and I have talked about this before. I can't remember what it was, but there was something that was, why My Little Pony is a good show, aside from the fact that it's about ponies, is because it's basically just a guide to being a good person.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the quote was, it's a user's manual for being a good person.
Yeah, exactly. So, despite the fact that it's about cartoon little ponies, whatever, this and that, it just, everything about it is just don't, be a good person. Like, there's nothing wrong with being nice to people that you don't know, or why judge people just because.
If only we could get legislation passed based on episodes of Friendship is Magic. That would be something.
I don't know. It's exactly what Jesse was saying, is that it does have a very strong message. I think it'll go on for much longer than Ed says it will after the show dies out. Though the issue is that it really depends on when the show dies out. There are huge groups of fans of 90s shows, which MLP shares a ton of the staff and is basically one of, like, in terms of writing quality and not just pandering to the audience. It'll keep having fans for decades to come. Maybe not necessarily the new fans, but people who respected it and still kind of draw back on some of the good messages that it portrays. As for the show itself, it could very well go on for another 5 seasons.
Doubtful, but
I don't know.
I agree. I agree that that's doubtful.
Something a friend of mine and I have been talking about. My friend who is an animation major, and we talk about cartoons a lot. There's this thing called Rule 60, I think it's 63. It's a lesser known rule, and it's not an internet rule, but it's an animation rule, which is a lot of Disney shows often cap their shows at 63, which is the minimum you need to get syndicated, and then you can just kill the show. So when you get into a show like this, like My Little Pony, which is designed to sell toys, so the idea being like, after this season, it might be a half season, if they've felt like they've sold enough toys and, they've done what they need to do, they would just cancel Friendship is Magic. The question is, can you make it valuable enough to them to keep going with it? And that's where that, the weird Brony thank you project comes in, which I think is one of our topics tonight.
That was, I think you're an episode late.
All right, it was in the brief, but the idea is just we're kind of waiting to see will they take it further than that episode mark where most shows get canceled?
The show is at like the highest viewer rate it's been.
Yeah, and the fandom is still growing.
I mean, why cut us off right then? There's a huge potential they could be tapping into. And what was it? The royal wedding.
It was the highest rated program on the Hub in forever.
No, period. In Hub history.
I don't have the Hub. I don't have it. Most people don't have it.
But it's still skyrocketing the actual, like, toy sales and whatnot, and the fandom is still huge.
And we're all buying those stuff, which is, it's reflected in those toy sets that Hasbro's doing, where suddenly we have a big Macintosh toy and a Cadence toy and a Zakora toy. They're obviously paying attention. What they pay attention to is the money you spend, not the TV commercials you make.
It's basically still just getting started. The thing is, with the, like, Zakora and Nightmare Moon and whatever, all the more show-accurate toys that are going to be coming out, that's the start of what could very well be a more accurate line related to this franchise. I think it's going to go on for another, at least 2 more seasons, and very well could have, like, a movie or 2 or something.
So, here's my challenge to the audience, so since we're wrapping up the show, to make sure they don't syndicate and put an end to this awesome material. Watch the show. Support the show, buy the Netflix episodes, get the DVD boxes, buy those. If there's a toy you like, get it. Why? It all supports the company that makes the show possible. If you show the creators that you love the show by financially investing in it, you're investing in the episodes that are produced.
Yeah, just show your support. Spend money. That's what you can do.
Hey everyone, don't forget to check out our site's other great programs, like Stay Brony My Friends by Dusty Cat. If you're on the West Coast like me, you can tune into this amazing program every Monday at 5 p.m. Pacific Date Time, which is actually the same time you tune into this program, just on a Monday, just so you know. After that, go tune into Equestria Inquirer on Wednesdays during the same time. I've tuned into both of these programs. They can ensure you that they are more amazing than you can comprehend. Be sure to tune into the Sketchy Sounds live songcast every Thursday at 2 p.m. Pacific. He's a great musician. If there's any music you want to hear him play live, join the chat and send your request. But wait, there's more. Every pony loves Fridays, and so does your queen of the night, Nightmare Moon. Join her as she takes over alongside the Lunar Republic at 4 p.m. Pacific, as viewers like you directly request your favorite songs from various Brony musicians. And to finish off this week before you hear from us again on Sunday, tune in to A State of Brony at 1 p.m. Pacific on Saturday and listen to the best trance, house, and electronic music in all of Equestria. If you have any questions or would like to join this program as a co-host or guest, you can contact me on my official website, Vanacus.com. That's Vanacos.com. We're always looking for new speakers, and if you have the passion, I look forward to working with you in the future. Thanks for your time. See you online.
I can't remember what happened in September, when everything is gone, when it's dark and I'm alone. It's been forever since I could have remembered where the hell is every pony. I just want to know the story of what happened right before I became so alone. You can't touch me now. You see this button here? I'm gonna press it. I just remembered what happened in September. I'm the one who killed them all. I survived after the fall.
I'm the princess of the night, so of course they run and fright. They feel frightened and unsure.
Then let's heighten your allure.
I don't think you understand. I bring darkness to their land.
But what causes them to flee?
Must be my supremacy,
Make it so they can't resist.
so that we can coexist.
You'll be welcome in their clique.
Talking loud should do the trick.
Turn your social life around. Ditch those boots and holy crown. I can help with one small fee. Give your princesshood to me.
Now colts and fillies of every pony kind, here's a song about you from your front to your hind. Hairy, coaty, muscly, and bony, these are the parts of the pony. Now the pole is the name for the top of the head where the forelock grows, and then it said that the mane down the neck is known as the crest. But we'll finish off the head before we start with the rest. Well, your ears they heard, that your eyes they saw, that a pony's got a nose and a muzzle and a jaw. Between them's a mouth that'll laugh and speak and smile real wide from cheek to cheek. Now the mouth is a tool that can pick things up and eat off a plate or drink from a cup. And the forehead's hard and protects your brain, which connects to the spine, which is underneath the mane. Now a unicorn's head has a special horn, and it's made of stuff called alicorn. Cast magical spells that you've studied and read, and those are the parts of the head. Next, let's slide right down your spine to the parts on the back of all pony kind. There's the withers on the back, and the loin, and the hip, and the croup, and the dock, and the tail you can whip. Now still on the back of Pegasi, there are two special things that'll help you fly, with bones and joints and feathers and things. So these are the parts of the wings. The feathers on the end that pick up air are the most important, so take care of the ones on top that are called the primaries. Then on the bottom your secondaries. If your wings are open and wide, you'll see some feathers tucked inside. They help catch air and they're not overt. They are primary and secondary coverts. Now the lesser coverts still catch breeze, and your wing pit feathers are your axillaries. To fold the wings bend at 2 points, and those are the margin of the carpal joints. Now back to the throat, which goes to the chest, which goes to the barrel where the stomach digests. There's a liver and a heart and a lung or two, and the rib cage keeps them safe for you. Into the body there extends the shoulder and the arm. It bends from high up, there will go down low. There's the upper arm and the elbow, next to the forearm and the knee and the fetlock. And I do decree this anatomy song, we're almost done. We'll do the hind legs and have some fun. The legs got the hoof and the coronet that connects to the pastern, and I'd bet that the ankle's flexible and goes to the cannon. These are important if you're standing. Next going up, we've got the hock. It bends up the leg so a pony can walk. We started with the bottom and we're going up high. There's the gasket and the quarter and the stifle and the thigh. The flank on the side and the haunch near the top. And there's one last part before we stop. When your special talent shines in the dark, you can show it to the world with your cutie mark. The parts of the pony are so cool, so keep in shape and stay in school, and strong and smart you'll surely be. Those are the parts of the pony. Those are the parts of the pony.